Hi, Mark.
Hi, Brandon. Welcome to D&D Talk.
I'll give you a topic to discuss. Beholders neither behold. I got nothing.
I was really waiting. I was like, ooh.
Can neither be nor hold. Ooh. Discuss.
What's up, Weirdlings? Guess what? We're going to talk about something today because Rusted Heart is the new Heroes of Awesome campaign that is starting May 6, 2018. We're going to be setting it in the Planescape universe, and we need to explain what that is because if you're like me, you have no idea what Planescape is. You know who brought it to our attention, though? Brandon. So Brandon really had the idea of turning this into a Planescape campaign, and I thought, yeah, let's do this. I don't know what that means. Brandon, what is Planescape?
So Planescape is a campaign setting from the, I'll say the golden age of D&D campaign settings. That would have been the early to mid 90s. We had a lot of different worlds and they all had sort of like different feelings. Spelljammer was like the original sort of you going to different planes via these aquatic marine animal spaceships. Trippy, super trippy, really awesome. Ravenloft was the gothic horror one, and we've seen that in the recent 5th edition Curse of Strahd book. Dark Sun was this very slave to king Conan-like story in a world of sort of desert psionics. Al-Qadim was like kind of like the Middle East like one.
Heard of this.
They're all awesome.
Oh my god. This is like, the amount of obscurity right now is kind of blowing me away. But, like, where does Planescape fit?
So Planescape came along kind of like towards the end of sort of that golden age when people weren't playing Spelljammer much anymore and they wanted to do something new with the planes and the realms and all that. So they kind of finished that one up and they brought out something new. And it was David Zeb Wells created Planescape, which is, instead of thinking it as traveling to these places via a ship that looks like an octopus, it's a thing.
I want to see this.
It's pretty great. If you can find a Spelljammer box set, it's great. They created a world, or many worlds, which were all led to the same spot, a city named Sigil. And it is it's sort of an almost a loops on itself city in the middle of at the top of a tall spire in the middle of this Outlands. And the Outlands also leads to these various planes of existence. There's inner planes, outer planes, and it gets like crazier the further out you go. The realms are really crazy. They're all centered on various alignment parts.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's
We're gonna pause me for a second there.
Yeah, let's pause for a minute because we've talked in Heroes of Awesome. If you watch Heroes of Awesome, I mean, we've talked a lot about how, the alignments and things like that we don't really lock into, but
I have very publicly said many times, I don't care about alignment, whatever, you can set it to be what you want, but I'm gonna focus mostly on what your characters are doing and things like that. Alignment's actually important in Planescape. So if you're a lawful good being and then you find yourself going to the abyss or what have you, you're probably gonna stick out. It is important to me now because of Planescape, but that's gonna lead to fun.
Is it gonna lead to fun or is it gonna be?
It's gonna lead to fun for me.
Okay. For us, the players though.
You guys will be in very awkward situations and it'll be exciting.
Oh God.
Oh, I think you all took like a real hard stance on neutral.
I think we were really, we're all like, we don't care.
I don't want to be good or bad.
Here's the thing. So there's good, neutral, and evil, but then there's lawful, neutral, and chaotic. And I think like I was a lawful neutral. Mm-hmm. What exactly is the difference as far as alignments when you're looking at lawful, neutral? Like, what is a neutral alignment in terms of lawful and evil?
Well, like pure neutral is you're just self-serving. You only care about yourself.
Okay.
Lawful neutral is you're out for number one, but you're going to stay within like the realm, the bounds of the law.
Okay.
You're going to work within the system. You care about some order.
Okay.
If you're chaotic neutral, you're like, F it all, this is my time, and get out of my way. If you don't like what I've got to say, then hit the road. And it's gonna be like, everything's gonna be amped up to 11 in this world. Okay. So like, oh, we're in a very lawful realm. So, okay, perfect cities, beautiful crystalline structures, angels just flying around, keeping order and keeping eyes on.
So what happens if we as characters come into this with an alignment that we've said this is what we are, but then we don't act with that alignment? Will you change us?
No, I mean, if you start doing crazy BS, running around lopping people's heads off, like, oh, hey, you're evil now.
You're evil.
All
Okay.
right. So yeah, I mean, you do something extreme enough, but I think most of you as players know to kind of like, I'm gonna keep my head a little bit low.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
maybe not necessarily. You all tend to have a more exploratory, find out what's going on.
It's true. Which is very interesting. Let's talk about this for a second, because we just finished shooting all of the character videos. I would say 75% of our characters seem to be a little more intrigue based.
When you were making your characters, I took note of that. It's like, okay, they all know enough about this world that they're not necessarily going to be bruisers or very prototypical characters. They're very more, they're a lot more roguish.
Roguish. Not murder hobo.
Not murder hobo, or even like, there's no Sendia on this team.
No, there's no City.
There's no purity,
No.
either good purity or just pure evil.
Yeah.
You have a lot of like, I want to find out information. Let me play a song and see what the sparrows are saying, that kind of thing. You've got a Kenku who is like a master of the written word and uses that to their advantage. I love what you all have gone with, like I want to be something different, but not just a different class or race. I want to be like a different style of playing. And I think that will work pretty well with the world.
And I'm really curious how you're going to handle a Kinku in this whole thing. That's going to be...
A limited vocabulary Kenku. And of all people to play, Birdie.
Right? Right?
Wow.
Oh my God, yes.
When she said that, I was like, but really, who are you going to be? I think she'll play it off really well.
Probably so, yeah.
I think she's going to, because this is your chance to shine as a role player. You can be this otherworldly character in a very otherworldly setting, and just, I think more so than many others, just really imagine something very different from what we've seen before. Sausage.
Okay, let's dig back into Sigil a little bit. So one of the things that stood out to me when you first started talking to me about what was going on with Sigil is factions. And these aren't like Adventure League factions.
Oh, yeah.
There are factions in Sigil, and they're very distinct. What's the story? Why all the factions? What do they do? I mean, I don't know if we don't want to go through all the factions.
So Planescape was actually the debut of factions. I think we have the Adventure League factions that we have today because that was introduced in Planescape. Nice. And it was also like one of my favorite things. And the player's handbook in the campaign setting has like all the factions. It has all the factions, and that's where it's going to, you have like a general idea of who everyone is going to be. You basically all step into a world where you have, 15
factions.
15 different groups that all have sort of like different ideas about the world, different goals. Some of them are aligned, some of them are very hateful towards each other. And this is like, Sigil is just full of all these people. So, what team do you belong to? Whose favor are you gonna achieve, and who are you going to piss off?
So yeah, I'm assuming as soon as you align yourself with one faction, you're going to make some friends and enemies immediately.
Yeah, I mean, if you go full force into, the Fraternity of Order, then any of the more chaotic ones are going to be, you're just a pencil pusher. I don't care about you.
Okay.
You don't care about anything that actually matters. You're a fool, So everyone thinks everyone is wrong.
Right.
And that they're right.
So do the different factions control different areas of Sigil, or do they all intermingle?
They all have sort of a center of power there. For example, the Doom Guard is in the city arsenal. Seems like a pretty good place to have your stronghold.
Yeah.
But then the Harmonium doesn't care about that. They have weapons. They're just going to they patrol pretty freely because they are basically Judge Dredd cops. Yeah, everyone's a little bit different. Everyone's got a very wildly different worldview, and it's going to be really fun. Factions is my favorite part of Sigil. So.
Really? We're going to have to figure out factions pretty early in this campaign.
I mean, from the very start, you're going to be basically assaulted by different people from different factions, and they're all going to have want something from you or demand something of you.
Okay, so we're going to have to make life choices early in our lives. I mean, early, but we're starting at level 8.
So yeah, you all are starting level 8. So, you've all worked very hard in Warren Scarlet, and we have in Dominion of Estland as well. We've seen level 1 through 7 for quite a while. We're talking years now. So it's time to see some upper level stuff, which also frees me up to throw out some upper level threats. And if you're going to like the elemental plane of fire, who wants to fight like a little matchstick guy?
Yeah, no. You want to fight a fire thing.
Something big and crazy and that will burn everything down.
What would we be fighting in an elemental plane of fire, Brandon?
I guess you'll just have to find out.
One of the things that you mentioned when we first started talking about Planescape, and I asked, okay, what's Planescape all about? You kind of described it as just this weird world. There's just weirdness all around, kind of even like a labyrinth or a dark crystal kind of world all smashed together. Is that really what we're going to be jumping into?
I mean, that's my best way to describe it to someone who's just, what is Planescape? And probably how I should have started. It is if Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal and Legend and every other cool early 80s fantasy movie collided and was set in like this dirty old Victorian-like city.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
It even has its own language.
What?
So,
really?
Yeah, basically like sort of Victorian slang. You'll get lots of nicknames and flavor, I'll say. Lots of flavor.
So we're going to have to like learn the lingo. Y'all.
I also have to learn the lingo though. Like, when you show up, you're immediately going to be like, it's a couple clueless.
Oh, you told me about that one once.
I did tell you about that.
Yes, that's one that I actually know. What is a clueless?
Clueless is someone who is new to Sigil and does not really know the way of things. They're from outside and from the material plane, and
that's pretty much the party. A bunch of clueless rolling around until we align ourselves with factions.
Or at least get to be a little more known. I mean, there's different things you could potentially do.
Okay, so we don't have to be a part of a faction.
You don't necessarily. Might get you into some really cool parties.
See, I want to go to the cool parties, y'all. I will admit I've done a little bit of research on Planescape just because it's my nature, honestly. I just like to research these things. And one of the things I found out is the kind of, I guess you would call her the ruler of Sigil, is called the Lady of Pain.
Yeah.
She sounds terrifying.
She should.
What is she? Is she like a god? What is the Lady of Pain?
I will tell you, because she is someone who is surrounded by mystery and intrigue. She is sort of the caretaker of Sigil. So if you mess with Sigil, you are probably going to have to deal with her. You don't want to deal with her. I mean, let me take that back. Let me step that back a little bit. You don't want to be on her bad side.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Because I think I read something once that if her shadow falls upon you, you will be flailed to death, kind of thing. It's like, what is this? It's just a shadow. If I walk out and it's noon and I'm not expecting it, I'm just flailed to... Oh, God.
That is the Lady of Pain.
She's got like blades all around her head, y'all. It's just a headdress of knives.
Dieter Lizzy's drawing of the Lady of Pain is what sort of started the Planescape world too.
Oh, really?
Like, he's this amazing artist. I love everything he did. He's done Magic cards. He's done tons of fantasy stuff. But he was also sort of like the main art supplier, artist involved with Planescape. Right. So everything is like sort of based on his look. All the factions, he did like character designs for them. So the look of all them is completely defined by his style. And his drawing of Lady of Pain is what basically inspired the entire world.
Wow. Planescape has been around for a while and has a lot of permutations. There are video games on it. There's all of this. Even though I didn't know what Planescape was, I heard of Planescape. I have heard of it all the time. So when you said it, I was automatically intrigued by this stuff. So
I think there's a secret cabal of D&D fans that know about Planescape, or at least want to know about Planescape. And that was a big part of, like, when we were talking about what we wanted to do. It's like, well, I've always wanted to run Planescape. And there are no 5th edition rules for this that officially exist. So
right.
it's going to be a little bit of work, but I really want to bring this world into Heroes of Awesome.
You know, that's one thing that we actually talked about. We had some people asking questions on our Patreon things. They were messaging me about this, and they were talking about the amount of work that goes into a live stream. And we talked about doing live stream over recorded and live stream. You're converting Planescape to 5th edition and being prepped on a live stream to just kind of roll with whatever happens. That's a lot of work.
Well, my greatest achievement as a DM is being able to basically wing it.
True story.
And it's Heroes of Awesome that taught me really how to do that. I was always okay at it, but really that Murder in Sunset episode kind of broke me a little bit. And never again do I go in with only 3 plans.
Sorry.
No, now I'll have 4 or 5 backups to the main idea.
Or 15.
Or 15. There's the thing, there's like so many things that can happen wildly, and there's so much inspiration I can draw from. Like, you're in a city that basically never-ending crazy wildness. Things that were just run-of-the-mill monsters that you would have fought before can have political power in Planescape.
Wait. So you're saying that there could be an owlbear that is running a section of Sigil?
I mean, you could have like a very intense, noble owlbear
Oh, I want that so bad right now. Oh.
walking around telling you to get her a spot of tea. You know, it's...
I want that so bad right now.
Anything I want to happen in this world, I can just make up, because
Oh my God.
this is basically the crux of everything.
Right.
Everything connects with Sigil, and if you know your way around, and if you have the right key, you can go anywhere.
You really said the right thing there with the key. So you talked about the key, and you actually, one of our slogans is, do you have the key? What's the deal with keys?
Planescape is everything. Planescape is everywhere. What was once only accessible by wizards with, like, you know, magical spells and whatnot, I'm going to go to the elemental plane of air and talk to a djinn there and learn the secrets of blah, blah, blah. Now you can just walk. I'm just going to hike I'm going to take a nice summer vacation and walk across the Outlands and try to go to the elemental plane of air. That's the sucky way of going. If you are in Sigil and you know where the gate is, and you know what the gate is and how it operates, and you have the key, you can just boop, go.
Nice.
And that information is available for just a small price.
I'm sure it's a very reasonable price too, right?
Could be money, could be favors. Hey, maybe can you go get this cool weapon that the Doomguard have been sitting on?
Cool.
Yeah, you can get it anywhere if you have the key.
All right, so you just gotta find keys. You gotta find keys.
Oh, and that key might not necessarily be a key, by the way.
Okay, so it could be.
Oh, I had to walk up to that bathroom in that dirty old tavern and say these magic words backwards.
Man, you realize how hard it is for us to tease those things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, this is gonna be tough.
Oh, it's going to be so good. This is like taking the people who are the absolute, maybe not the worst at intrigue and information getting, and throwing them into a world that's all about information getting.
All right, we're gonna have to dive into it.
I think your characters are well designed so that they can get that information, and if not, Hildy could beat the information out of someone.
Yeah, no, she totally could. While we stand in the background and watch, because we're not gonna get that bloody.
Play you a song.
Hey, you know what? I can keep her attacks in rhythm. That's what it is. So here's a question, and Bertie actually had this question. So here, can different individuals within the party belong to different factions?
That's a good question. Can you? I bet you could, but can you get along?
Oh yeah, Because I'm assuming that if we were in the Mercy Killers, if I was in the Mercy Killers, maybe I wouldn't necessarily get along with, I don't know, the believers of the Source. I'm guessing.
Yeah, they're not necessarily friendly with each other. You're certainly not going to deal well with the Bleak Cabal or the Aethar. They're kind of more like, nothing matters.
Okay.
And you're very much like, everything matters when I'm told it's mattered. Shunk, kill.
Okay, then. So maybe if two of us were in the Mercy Killers and the Fraternity of Order, but somebody else was in the Bleak Cabal, we would have some serious conflicts.
I mean, that's possible. You can definitely not get along. Now the question is, how deep are you in it? Are you just pretending to be a member of this so you can get in good graces with someone else? Mm-hmm. Do you really actually fully believe in that? Because if you're a true believer in the cause supported by the faction, then you probably don't really have much in common with your good friend.
Wow, there's intrigue all over the place.
But then again, it could be more like could be like a con movie. Maybe you recognize someone has very special skills. You hate who they are and what they stand for, but God, they're really good at getting out of a tricky situation.
Here's a question for you. So Rusted Heart is designed to be a limited run. It's designed just to run for a few months, be a contained campaign adventure. Mm-hmm. That's really different than what we've done with Heroes of Awesome for the past few years. How is that going to be different for you? Better or worse?
Is insanely different because I'm very used to just we're playing. Now I've recently been playing Storm King's Thunder and we're wrapping up that campaign, so it's the first time really ever that I've had this is the end point, and then we're done with these characters, and then we're done with all that, we can move on to something different. So I now have some familiarity with reaching that end point. The hard part is designing it so that we can have a really rich, fulfilling experience, yet also have, do we have a hard end? Do we have a season 1 end? What do we do? So I am all about open endings, and we'll see where we are a few months from now. But I've got 8 months to show off lots of different worlds, lots of different intrigue, and I think we've got a good group of folks that will be inquisitive enough to want to explore these different places. If you guys never leave Sigil, then okay, we have a cool city campaign. But you're mostly going to have to, because in some ways I can sort of force, you have to go get this thing.
Sure. Long story short, though, this is going to be, I'm excited about it. I'm super excited about starting this campaign, this world, the characters that we've built, just in our conversations already. I can already see some of the ways we're going to interact, and I freaking love it.
I mean, there's a cat and a bird.
I know, right? A cat and a bird together, and the potential for a crazy zookeeper. I'm not going to say who, but I can't explain how much I'm excited about it. What I can say, though, is that it's starting May 6th, 2018, over on Twitch. We are going to have all of the archive shows on YouTube as well. So if you haven't already subscribed, do that and click the bell to get notifications, and then tell all your friends, because we would love to get this out and hear what you all have to say about all of these things. I don't know, what else you want to add?
I don't know. I'm super stoked about it. I finally get to play in a world that I've always been jealous of my old friend who used to run this campaign, so I get to try it out, and I don't know, super stoked, and I'm going to see how this group is at some more intrigue.
I'm going to have to get better at that.
Ask questions.
Okay.
Don't ask the wrong person questions.
Now I got to figure out who the right person is.
Be sure to actually only ask the right person questions.
Only ask the right person. Oh, God dang it.